Welcome, welcome. I think I am live, double checking. Okay, hi there. Right off the bat, great coughing already on the thing. Hi, my name is Trisha Broderick. I'm with Ignite Insight and Innovation, and I'm co-live the first Friday of every month, and it is June. Although I went live earlier with Diana Larson for our Lead Without Blame that we do once a month, and I swear I labeled it May. Kept my notes were May. I don't believe it's June. I think it is still May. And if I lie to myself long enough, maybe I can just make it true. Like, right? Maybe. Nah, probably not. So it is June. And I should also say tomorrow is my bestie since we were 10 years old's birthday. So happy birthday, Ange. I won't get to see her this year, but it's fine. We're going to take a trip this year anyways. So have a good birthday. And what else do I have for it's June? Because see, this is why I don't even want to believe it's June because, half the year. But it is what it is. So let's talk about retrospectives. Now, retrospectives, a lot of people have this assumption retrospectives are just for Scrum. No. So let me just kind of give a general thing on retrospectives for a second, and not even specifically for Scrum or not Scrum. Yes, it is a part of the Scrum framework, but honestly, it's an agile practice that you could use anywhere and any place. But it is essentially an event where the team can come together, build its co-intelligence, build its team evolution towards that ideally resilient learning team, right? Working more and more collaborative together, more and more co-intelligence, where they're getting better and better innovation, creativity, results, performance, and scales, like all the things we want, right? That resiliency. But one of the ways that we do it is by taking the time to stop and reflect and talk about us. And over the years, I've watched people do retrospectives. And now let me be clear. The number one book everybody should get on retrospectives is Agile Retrospectives by Esther Derby and Diana Larson. It's been out since, I think Diana just told me it was like 2006 or 7. So great book. It's out there. I am aware that there might be a V2 coming, but I don't have any kind of timeline of things like that. But Diana mentioned that at the Scrum gathering. So it is potentially coming, but you should definitely pick it up. Definitely check it out. I see Donna's online. Hi, Donna. Great resource. But I'm going to focus today not on explaining everything about a retrospective, but what my pet peeves, what things just piss me off, just annoy me, bother me, and I see all the time in retrospectives. I have 5 listed, but we'll see if I stick to 5 because I could go on and just be super annoyed with them. But what I'm going to guess is each one of these are going to have like 14 different parts to them because they're so important. And yet they go off the rails often. So let's talk about them. So very first one, they're skipped. They're just not even done. We don't have time to learn about the team. We have to do work. Well, here's the problem with this fallacy. Who does the work? The team. Who builds the product? The team. You don't have time to not think about the team. The team is who does the work. And so this concept of like, we don't have time to learn, we have to do work. Stop it. Stop it. The learning is part of the work. The team is who does the work. You don't have time not to. 2, it's just a vent session, a repetitive vent session. I once read retro notes that said this: what did we do well? Communication. What did we not do well? Communication. What are we going to do? Communicate more. Might as well just shoot me now, people. Like, talk about a waste of time. Like that vague, ridiculous, like no value whatsoever. The only thing might have been worse is if there was no action. But even honestly, the more communication is not really action, right? You don't want it to be a vent session where people are just complaining the whole time. You don't want it to be with no action, where they're like, here's all the things that went well, here's all the things that didn't. Okay, good, break. Like, no. A retrospective is a decision-making meeting. It is something where you are trying to figure out what you are going to experiment with in the next, now, if you're in Scrum, sprint. If you're not in Scrum, in the next set of work period that you have, you are deciding together as a team something that you want to try together as a team to improve the way you are working together. You must have a decision. It cannot be just this like complain session over and over and it sucked, it's stupid, it didn't work, or just vague communication. Like, no, might as well not do it. If those are your retrospectives, I get why people skip them, because they're stupid. They're not adding value. Said with love. Okay. Third, I'm feeling very ranty and venty today, people. I'm telling you right now. The third one is that it is just repetitive. The only thing worse than the retro notes that said communication, more communication, was seeing 3 retro notes in a row that said the exact same thing. No. Somewhere along the lines, people got this impression that retrospectives were like this open-ended thing. You can absolutely set a focus. Fine. You want to talk about communication? We're going to get specific. We're going to talk about communication with stakeholders, or we're going to talk about communication with each other, or with me, or whatever. Like, narrow the focus of your retro to a specific challenge or problem the team is having that they need to experiment, improve on. Patricia, we're the leader and the team is supposed to decide what they want to improve on. Yes, they get to decide the experiment. You can still set the focus. You are a facilitator to drive them to a decision, to an outcome. You can still set the outcome focus, the topic area of the session. If you have it just wide open, then yes, of course they're repeating themselves every single time. I will own I was not very good at this, and it was starting to annoy me how repetitive retros were, to the point that I could pre-write down most of what people were going to say in the next retro. I'm like, no, we're not doing this. So let's take a theme of a set and actually address it versus repeat the same challenges over and over and over again. It's not valuable. Pick a topic, pick a focus, narrow in, decide on an experiment to try and improve on. 4. Oh, I'm flying through these today. I'm like, as Donna put, spicy. Diana Larson just said this at the Global Scrum Gathering in Portland. And I almost wish I recorded or made her like say it again and record it and then just put it on an infinite loop on my like website or something. A retrospective is not a single activity. You don't just do the sailboat and that is your entire retrospective. You don't just do 1, 2, 4, all, and that's your entire. It is not a single activity. Remember, a retrospective is a decision-making meeting. So you may have to help them make a decision. In that book, Agile Retrospectives by Esther and Diana, they call out 5 stages of a retro. There's a set the stage, kind of the opening, like what's the focus of what we're coming together to decide on an experiment to improve on. And then there's the gathering of the data, like what information do we need to make this decision? But we don't want to just quickly make a decision. We have to generate some insights. This is building that co-intelligence, building that collaboration, building that team shared ownership and responsibility. Like talk through what could be this and what have we thought about that and what insights can you draw from there? It's not just a hurry up and pick something and move forward because we don't have time. No. Part of that retrospective is helping them learn how to collaborate together, build that co-intelligence. And then, yes, making a decision or deciding and then closing that retro. It is not just a single activity, because if you do just a single activity, it might be repetitive. It might just be a vent session. They might not have any action items. See how it all ties back to the other things and then when you do all of those things, then people just start skipping it because what's the point? See how they just build on each other. Stop it. Stop it. So definitely look at that. If you have not gotten into some facilitation training, I do it, but there's others. There's books out there. Marsha Acker has a great book, The Art and Science of Facilitation, I believe. Look into how do you help a team make a collaborative decision together, because that is what is happening in a retrospective. So you need to know how to achieve that, how to accomplish that. And it is not going to be a single throw up a sailboat activity and then it just magically happens thing. No, 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 no. Yes, activities are important, but the activities are the tool to help them collaborate and decide together. You have to actually go through that part of the retrospective. I don't know what number I'm on at this point, so I'm just going to give another one. Number whatever is, I don't care what the duration is. So in Scrum, the guide says 3 hours for a 1 month sprint. If you are a brand new team leader or Scrum master or facilitator that is going to run your first retrospective, and you schedule a 3-hour retrospective with a brand new team and tell them that they are going to talk not about the product, not about the work, but about how they are working together as a team, you will never get them to come to another one. I would not. You don't know how to facilitate them. 3 hours is not psychologically safe. You got to build up to that at the beginning, right? So I often tell my teams at the very beginning, your first retro, 10 minutes, 30 minutes, max. Like get in, be super focused, highlight one thing, one small experiment, build that momentum. Now, the maximum of 3 hours, I've held all day retrospectives. It doesn't matter. That time box duration, especially in Scrum, don't honestly care about. I know. No Scrum purists coming at me. I don't care. Don't even bother. I'm just going to put you to spam. I don't care about the time box duration. What I care about is don't start too much. Build into it, help build the psychological safety, and then pick the duration that works for the topic that you need to cover. So if your facilitation is going to need half a day to do it, then take a half a day to do it. Again, the focus isn't just check, we've held a retro. And I know, I love my check marks. I know how healthy and happy that makes somebody feel, but it's ultimately not healthy. And ultimately, you won't be happy in the end. So if your goal is to help them learn, help them build co-intelligence, help them collaborate, then use the amount of time you need for the focus at hand to accomplish your decision-making 5 stages of it. But don't start with a 3-hour and be like, we're going to talk about team for 3 hours. And then be surprised that everybody just sits there and stares at you. No. Work up towards it. Okay. Do I have any other pet? Those are the ones that I listed, but I'm seeing if there's any off the cuff that I want to also highlight, because I'm feeling testy and spicy, as everybody's pointing out. But I think those are the main ones that I see over and over again. If people are not participating, like if you just got a silent retrospective, see, another one came to me. Okay. Silent retrospectives where nobody's engaged. Let them pick the topic then, but narrow topic, but let them pick the topic. What's the problem they want to see solved, fixed, changed, experimented versus the topic you want to do, right? Another is how are you facilitating? Because, for every time somebody's like, well, Trisha, I have people who won't participate, and they always seem to participate for me. Part of that is facilitation. Part of that is knowing how to facilitate, how to engage a whole group. And that's a skill. It's not something I just magically knew how to do. I had to learn. I had to practice. I had to get better at it, right? And those are those facilitation skills. And then the dynamic of, but they're still not talking, then there's something else going on in the room. And I may make the retro about why we're not talking. What's not safe, right? What's going on? Again, that's more an advanced thing. You have to make sure that you can handle psychological safety in the room. Donna just put up one more, doing the same old thing all the time. If they're picking the same experiment and either not doing it or doing it and it doesn't improve anything, maybe that's the focus of the next one. Are we going through the motions? Why are we doing this? And what do we really want? Always tie it back to the motivations of what they're trying to do. When they think it's just a check mark for your list or for you to say that you've done this framework or this event, then people are much easier to just go through the motions. But if it's trying to solve something they want to solve, you get a little bit different of engagement, obviously, okay, with it. So that's what kind of my pet peeves. 15 minutes flew by today. I see this kind of stuff happening all the time, but they're my favorite thing. Favorite thing is a retrospective, because it can just be so powerful, but you can't fall into any of these traps. So what's do I have coming up? Well, I leave for TechWell on Sunday in Vegas, but I will also be in TechWell in Orlando in November. So I'll be at both of the TechWells East and West for the DevOps and Agile software conferences. I have Agile Virtual Summit next week. And for those of you that have been long time listening, I am still working on my handstand. And if you watch the Agile Virtual Summit session, you might see progress. Okay. And that's also next week is the Agile Virtual Summit that Adam Weisbert puts on. And I will also be doing an entrepreneurial fest in Cedar Rapids, Iowa next week as well. And then we have Agile 2023 coming up in July. I'm so excited about that. With Diana Larson, I'll be doing a session there. So lots of conferences. We're entering conference season. There'll be lots of things. I'm also going to be attending the Scrum Gathering in Amsterdam. I don't even know if I'm going to be presenting yet. I would think I just submitted. I don't even care if I'm not, I'm still going. So I'm just really want to go to Amsterdam. I want to see my Europe peeps and crew over there. And so I'll be over there also, but that's not till October, but it's in Amsterdam. Okay. I don't have any public classes coming up because summer is vacation and conference season and then working in between. So my next publics are not until the fall. I have a Leading Amazing Teams and ACSM that's focused on facilitation, impactful training and speaking. So if you want to get better at kind of connecting with people, making an impression with your speaking and training, those are all in September and October of this next year. So that, and then our next Lead Without Blame live is July 7th. So little things coming up, lots more conferences and lives in the summer months, but classes in the fall with it. So yes. And if you're ever at any of these conferences, please come up, see me, talk to me, say hello. It was the strangest thing to ask to sign a book at Scrum Gathering in Portland, but it was so cool and different experience for me. So I'm still learning, but enjoying it. So thank you for spending your time with me. Enjoy and have a good June until July. See you next time.